It's confirmed. After one of the biggest moves so far of the 2025 NBA offseason from another team, it has made things very clear for the New York Knicks going forwards in their head coaching search, with a clear favorite now emerging as Leon Rose gets prepared to strike and select the team's newest head coach. And we are going to break all this down. What's up, guys? Welcome back to Knicks Digest. It's Chris here, and we're going to jump right in. As always, guys, if you're part of that 74% and you're not subscribed to Knicks Digest, make sure to subscribe. We have daily videos like this and much more. We got multiple videos coming out every day right now in this part of the offseason because there's just so much news to go over. But all that being said, let's jump into it, guys. Do you recognize this man right here by any chance? His name's Jordan Ott. Well, if you don't, get familiar with it because he is a new head coach in the NBA. As it was revealed by Shams Charania that the Phoenix Suns are hiring Cleveland Cavaliers assistant Jordan Ott as the franchise's new head coach. Ott has been an NBA assistant since 2012 and has a strong background in offensive and defensive creativity, player development, and communication. On top of that, we also learned that Suns franchise cornerstone Devin Booker was involved in the search process during the final stages and stamped Ott as his top choice as well. Ott has been on the NBA coaching staffs with the Hawks, the Nets, the Lakers, and the Cleveland Cavaliers since 2012, and 13 years later, the man gets his chance as an NBA head coach. Now, for most Knicks fans, for probably all Knicks fans, I don't really have to explain why this is the biggest deal for the New York Knicks, but we all know what's coming. When Matt Ishbia decided to hire Jordan Ott as the head coach, everyone kind of wondered, is that because Ott was the first choice? Or did their actual first choice get swept away by the New York Knicks? That is what we are seeing right now happen. As the two top choices were Johnnie Bryant and Jordan Ott, the job went to Ott. Bryant was the expected guy to win it. Even though Ott had a lot of connections, Johnnie Bryant was viewed as he is the associate head coach of the Cleveland Cavaliers, so he was viewed as the top choice due to the higher, just have that higher role, and on top of that, just being someone who's so well respected by players, specifically guards. It would make sense that Bryant was going to be next up for the Phoenix Suns job, unless the New York Knicks swooped him away. And it's very, 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 very likely that Leon Rose did just that and went out of his way to contact Johnnie Bryant and say, we want to interview you, we want to talk. And Johnnie Bryant took that because he is the favorite for this New York Knicks job. Now, there's been a lot of discussion on social media who the favorite is, and a lot of different names have come up. One of them being Jay Wright, who is very much in the mix for this. As where things stand right now, the number 1 and 2 options are Johnnie Bryant and Jay Wright for that role. Now, Big Nick Energy, who does have sources, they did say that it's not going to be Johnnie Bryant, or he's not as clear-cut of a favorite as many think. What I've heard is that right now, it stands to seem like Johnnie Bryant is going to be the New York Knicks head coach of everything I've seen, and what all signs point to is that it's going to be Johnnie Bryant as well. But the Knicks, they're a diligent team. They're not going to necessarily just interview Bryant and be like, good enough, we like him, that's our guy. No, they're still going to interview a ton of people. Jay Wright will likely get an interview. Dan Hurley decided against taking one, or has basically decided against taking one as of right now, though obviously things can change. There's been a few guys who are on teams right now, and there's been a lot of discussion on what is going down with this situation. However, we do know from Chris Persianen that, well, Johnnie Bryant will be under heavy consideration for the New York Knicks job. We know that already, so that is a huge impact on things, but it's not everything. As it was also mentioned by Shams, that after firing Mike Budenholzer on April 14th and naming Brian Gregory, as the new GM on May 1st, the Suns embarked on a coaching search. Brian Gregory led a multi-round process that began with more than 15 coaching interviews. A group of approximately 8 candidates had second-round meetings. Before 6, Johnnie Bryant, Jordan Ott, Miami's Chris Quinn, the associate head coach of the Heat, Dallas's Sean Sweeney, Oklahoma City's Dave Bliss, and wouldn't you know it, current staff member David Fizdale advanced to the in-person visits with the team officials last week. My heart is broken that it's not David Fizdale, because that would have been the funniest thing I would have seen in a very long time. So I'm bummed. However, oh well. What are you going to do? Fizdale probably went to the interview and was like, yeah, I like all of them. They're great boys. And then they're like, so what's your game plan? He's like, we're all going to be best friends. And then they're like, so what's the plan? He's like, I love those kids. And then they're like, well, you don't have a plan at all. And you never did you? And he's like, yep. And No fizz. But here's the deal. With the New York Knicks, Johnnie Bryant is the type of guy that the Knicks would love to have. He's a great offensive mind. He's very talented. He works well with guards. The Knicks know him well. He's very, very pedigreed with this New York Knicks team. And once this news came out, it took Knicks fans all of 6 seconds to say Johnnie Bryant's a Knick. Bryant's a Knick. Taking a picture of Johnnie Bryant and saying he's a Knick. On top of that, we saw the Strickland back in the day say that Johnnie Bryant was the all-star maker. Now, R.J. Barrett being on the front of that, I guess, didn't age perfectly, but Johnnie Bryant has still had a massive impact on multiple players, the best being Donovan Mitchell. He's also the most notable one. And also Julius Randle in the 2023 playoffs, the last playoffs that we saw Julius Randle play in a Knicks jersey. He did say when he was on a mangled ankle, Johnnie Bryant put me through the ringer over this past week. He really made it tough for me. He prepared me for this moment. I'm good to go. Randle's ankle was mangled, and he still played because that's the type of guy he is. And Johnnie Bryant made sure he was ready. Randle then, in that game that he's talking about, had 19 points and 11 rebounds. He helped the New York Knicks win a game against the Cleveland Cavaliers, a series they ultimately won in 5 games, the first time the Knicks had won a playoff series since the Ice Age. So, that was great. I mean, the movie, of course. But I don't even know if that's true. I don't know when that movie came out. I don't really watch animated movies. And no, I'm lying. I just said it because I'm cool, because I want to sound cool to you guys. I wish I did, but what are you gonna do? I still sound like I'm trying to act cool. Maybe I just hate myself. Who knows? What I don't hate is Johnnie Bryant, man. Look, here's the deal. We look at Johnnie Bryant and we see a bunch of things that we should like in a coach. We look at Jordan Ott and we understand he's a very talented coach as well. There's a real world that Jordan Ott just won the job over Johnnie Bryant. That's perfectly feasible. There's totally a world where that's what happened. But there's also that world where Matt Ishbia got a little skittish because he knew where Bryant would prefer to be. So he went with Ott, maybe potentially to save face, also because they knew Ott wanted the job. It makes total sense to do that either way. And again, I'm not trying to take away from Jordan Ott, like he's not a very capable coach. Everything that I've read shows that Jordan Ott is ready for this moment. So I'm wishing the best for Jordan Ott. Congratulations, man. You got an awesome job, and I'm looking forward to seeing how the Suns do with a new head coach. It's always fun to see how any new team does with a head coach. It just, you could see changes happen instantly, and it's usually interesting whether it's good or bad. Usually it's just fun to watch. Now, there's also another guy, Jason Kidd, who wowed the Knicks in 2020. He's now back on the radar. Now, the Mavericks are not 100% guaranteed to be blocking Jason Kidd the way the Houston Rockets are going to block Ime Udoka from interviewing with the Knicks. Jason Kidd, it's not 100% guaranteed that he's going to be blocked. It's most likely the case, but there's a world where Nico Harrison lets him go, as Nico Harrison does randomly let people go sometimes, whether it's Casey Smith or Luka Doncic, or I guess maybe Jason Kidd even. So we'll see how that one goes. That'll be interesting to see, 100% to see if the Knicks do let Jason Kidd walk. And we all know why that is. And there's likely going to be a full video that comes out on this soon. But where things stand right now, I do want to make it clear that Johnnie Bryant's not the only guy with a chance to get this job. If Kidd gets allowed an interview, there's a real world the Knicks will look towards him. There's a real world the Knicks will look and see if there's any way they could poach Eric Spoelstra, which they won't be able to. There's a very good world where the Knicks are going to interview a few different guys, mainly Jay Wright and Johnnie Bryant, but others as well. So we're going to see what goes down in this span. I mean, you look at Kidd, and we all know the biggest thing about Jason Kidd is that he could try to lure Giannis. Now, what we also know, as far as Leon Rose goes, is that what I've heard thus far from inside the Knicks organization, from sources who are close with the Knicks, Cat's not getting traded in this offseason. And if that's the case, if you're not trading Karl-Anthony Towns, but you're still on that Giannis hunt, which, like, not even, I don't want to say it's the worst kept secret because it's not even a secret. The Knicks are obviously going to try to get Giannis in a trade. Why? Because so is every team. I mean, I guess not, like, specific teams that, like, can't get him feasibly, but, like, any team that has a shot, like, even the smallest shot at trying to get Giannis will try to get him. And the Knicks know the advantage they have. Giannis likes New York. He has multiple businesses in New York. He loves to be in New York partially because of the large Greek population in New York. On top of that, the Knicks are a team that's ready to win, and Giannis very likely could look at the Knicks and say, I could make them a championship contender if I get traded there. But the Knicks, they're refusing to trade Karl-Anthony Towns in any deals, or at least it's not a 100% guarantee, but it's like a 95% chance that Cat does not get traded, where things stand right now as far as I know. However, it doesn't mean the trades are not impossible. And I'm going to have to make this bigger because there's no other way to look at it because it's just me going crazy on Fanspo. This is just some Fanspo vomit that I threw up here, which is basically if the New York Knicks want to give all the first-round draft capital and a second-round pick that they possibly could And they also move OG Anunoby and Deuce McBride to the Orlando Magic, and the Magic throw in some draft capital as well. And give Jalen Suggs so that he can join the Bucks and be a young player there, while they also get Josh Hart, who they could try to flip for more draft assets later on. And also, Hart is close with Damian Lillard, so there's that front on it. And then the Knicks also give Dottier because, first of all, they need it for the money to work, and also they give a nice young player to the Bucks, or, well, a young player to the Bucks who's raw and who they could try to develop. Similarly to how they developed Giannis, I'm not comparing the two, I'm just saying that becomes a raw prospect who they could try to develop, and there is some hope that he could really break out. On top of that, the Knicks take on the contract of Wendell Carter Jr. in the process while landing Giannis. Now, if the Knicks do want to make a trade like this, that's the thing. They're trading away more rotational players, and they become this incredibly top-heavy team. That's kind of what steers me away from this, and also there's just an important thing to mention on this front, and that's, I don't think the Bucks would do that trade in a million years. And that's like the best we're doing, unless the Knicks are trading Cat. So if the Knicks do get Giannis, I think it's safe to say they would be trading Karl-Anthony Towns so they don't mangle their depth even more after there was a bench issue going into, or just throughout all of the last season, which partially played into Tibbs getting fired. I do think what we'll see is the Knicks evidently lean towards trading Towns if they believe they have an actual chance at Giannis. And Giannis, again, the only way this happens is if Giannis says, I want to go to the New York Knicks, and I will threaten any other team that tries to trade for me that I will walk in 2 years in free agency to the Knicks anyway. So with all that in mind, there's a world where that could block things. Now, yes, the Raptors did that thing with Kawhi, and Kawhi's like, I'm going to leave. And they're like, we'll call your bluff. And neither side was bluffing, and at the same time, the Raptors won a ring, so it was worth it. So it becomes that situation where if it's actually going to happen. But guys, what do you think is going to happen with all this? Let me know in the comments down below. Like this video, subscribe, turn on post notifications. We will do a full video on Kidd and Giannis. Have a great day, and go Knicks.